shall compass a man. What is that?
He's trying to hide it, I think.
What is that?
Can I ask you a question?
It's God speaking, I will create a new thing. So the man Jesus is created in the woman. That is the promise to the woman. The seed of the woman was created to the woman.
Can I ask you a question as a Christian?
What it says created.
One second, bro.
Jeremiah.
Can I just ask you a question?
Jeremiah 31.
Yes,
Jeremiah 31. Okay.
Why did you trust Paul?
What?
Why did you trust Paul?
Why do I trust?
Paul.
Paul.
St. Paul.
The apostle, yes. Because Paul is number 12 of the 12 apostles. When Christ is crucified, the time mirror of the old covenant begins to work. The old covenant is a time mirror predicting what's going to happen in the future. So after Christ crucified, you can see, Paul is telling us, I can see myself inside of the broken mirror of the old covenant. Where is Paul in the old covenant? What happened is this. Jesus is crucified, and while Jesus is crucified, it turns out that he is a total image of Joseph. Look at Joseph. Joseph had a dream, right? The dream was, I saw the sun, the moon, and the stars bow down to me.
What are you talking about? I asked you a question. Why did you trust Paul?
I'm answering.
No, why did you trust Paul?
Because he's number 12. And the answer why he's number 12 is...
Oh, okay, let me ask you another question. Let me ask you an easier question.
I'm explaining to you right now
why did
Paul number 12.
Why did the disciples of Jesus...
Can I explain to you why he's number 12? You are afraid of the answer why Paul is number 12? Let me explain why...
The 13th apostle. The 13th.
12, number 12 apostle.
No, the 13th.
There were 12 apostles, one died, so now one lagging, right? So Paul is set in that position of number 12. No, they say, no, it was Matthias who was put in by casting of lot, right? No, that was not
I always get concerned when I ask one of these guys a question.
God demanded to see number 12. And where do we get that from, that number 12 exists somewhere? It was not one of those who sold Joseph down to Egypt.
Is this what you believe?
Spiritual Egypt. Jesus was sold down to spiritual Egypt at the day of crucifixion. Jesus saw the universe bow down to him as Joseph saw in a dream. Jesus ended up in the spiritual Egypt because Jerusalem became spiritual Egypt at the day of crucifixion. Jesus ended up in the underworld as Joseph ended up in jail in Egypt. Joseph was speaking to the prisoners in the underworld. Jesus was speaking to those who died at the time of Noah. He was preaching to them, in 3 days you shall be lifted up. So the complete image of Joseph is happening with Christ. So therefore, in the resurrection, when Joseph, the last Joseph, that is Jesus, when he rose again from that underworld, he declared, I will not believe in you 10 people if you do not bring me number 12. You claim to have a brother more. Where is he? Number 12, where is he? It's the
Do you know what my question was?
In the old
Do you know what my question was?
It was Benjamin.
Why did you trust
He
Paul?
was not even born at the moment when the last Joseph, when Joseph was sold, the last Joseph, that's Jesus, when Joseph was sold down to Egypt, Benjamin was not yet born. What did the apostles say? Let's take one who was with us from the beginning, even when Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver. No. Look at the mirror. The mirror is telling us you have to take the one, number 12, who was not even born.
Man. You ain't preaching what? You didn't say anything.
That's the answer.
He doesn't agree with that.
Yeah, but he's a Christian.
Do you know what my question was? Why did you trust Paul? That's the answer. Okay.
Paul is number 12.
All right, that's your answer. All right.
That's how you can see it.
Okay. Why did the disciples of Jesus tell Paul to go and take the Nazarite vow?
Good question.
Take the Nazarite.
Yeah. Why was Paul told by the disciples of Jesus, James, Peter, and John, to go and take the Nazarite vow? For what reason?
Oh, the same problem. Why are you also asking about that exact thing and hanging on to that as the only answer to all questions?
So why? Why did he do it?
Why do you ask that? I answered that just before with the Muslims over there. There were 100 Muslims.
What was your answer?
And I gave
what was your answer?
That he was saying yes and he was saying no.
He was saying yes and no?
Yeah. Because a new world was about to happen. When did the new world come about?
Why was he told to take the Nazarite vow? Why did they say?
In the transition
Why did they
to the
say?
new world, in the transition to the new world, you have Gentiles all of
Okay. It had nothing to do with the Gentiles.
No, it has.
It had nothing to do. The Nazarite vow.
The
Nazarite vow.
Going to circumcise?
No. The Nazarite vow is for Jews to show they're justified by the law. It's nothing to do with Gentiles. So why did the disciples of Jesus feel they needed to tell Paul to go and take the Nazarite vow? Why?
Because they were still hanging on to the law.
So
and the law was about to vanish away. When did the law? When was
were they
the law
wrong?
destroyed?
Well, so the disciples of Jesus were wrong.
They are wrong because a new
They're
world
wrong.
has come. Yeah, the last sacrifice is done.
Okay.
And that's Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Did they have the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
So you can be wrong having the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So the disciples of Jesus were wrong in their teachings.
They were wrong when they went
If they were wrong in their teachings,
cast lot and they fell
okay.
upon a Matthias, that was wrong.
If they were wrong,
it obviously was
if-
Paul.
no.
He's the one.
If they were wrong in their teaching.
Paul came. Do you know the story of Benjamin?
Okay, listen.
Do you know the story of Benjamin? He was delivered a
Please don't waffle.
five-fold portion.
Please don't waffle.
At
I know
the
you're scrambling
table
here.
Of Joseph.
I know you're scrambling.
What does
I know you're
that
scrambling.
mean to
I know you're scrambling.
you?
Don't help
What
me, man.
does it mean to
Don't
you
crash out, man.
that Benjamin
Don't crash
was
out.
delivered a
Don't crash
five-fold
out.
portion
Try to stay focused.
at the table of Joseph?
Track
What does
the
it mean
argument.
to you? I'll tell
Track
you
the
what it
argument.
means. It means
track the
that
argument.
Paul is the one bringing.
Alright, thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye. Anybody else?
But you don't talk about preach, man. You don't even answer the question.
He panicked as soon as he heard that question. Oh, I don't know. It's their fault, isn't it?
How you doing?
I'm alright, my man.